It's a home stretch here on Political Steer on Television Continental and Eye on Lagos West. His name is Gbadebo Rhodes-Vivour and is gunning for the senatorial seat for Lagos West here in Lagos State. Good to have you join us.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Do you cook?
Yes, I used to. Well, in school anyway.
Well, used to, but now I think I'm a smoothie expert.
Yeah.
And I can actually do some of the best bolly. Yeah, absolutely, through the microwave.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So Lagos West. So
Yes.
where do you live?
Ikeja.
I think that's what I'll be asking
No,
everyone.
it's very, very important. You should.
I should start by asking,
Yes,
where do you
where
live?
do you live?
So Lagos
Because-
West is part of Ikeja.
Yes.
So if you were actually staying somewhere else, I'll tell you what we have resolved to do going forward.
Exactly. And you should research them before they come so they don't lie.
No, I research a lot.
Fantastic.
I do
Good,
that.
Good.
Now, tell us, you're 35 years
Yes.
old and you're quite young and you should inspire people because people just want to see young people and all that. And
Yes.
let's talk about your emergence. How did you
Okay.
emerge the candidate for the PDP Lagos West Senatorial District?
PDP, you go through a primary, 10 local governments, so you have delegates from each of the local governments.
So you weren't an anointed candidate.
No.
So
I
you went
went
through the
that.
process.
Yeah, there was a process.
How well do you understand Lagos West?
Lagos West is made up of 10 local governments. It's divided into 2 divisions. It's the largest senatorial district in Nigeria. So we have Badagry division and Ikeja division, right? So from Ikeja, Alimosho, Agege, Mushin, all the way to Oshodi, Solo, and then now picks up Badagry division, Ajiromi, Ojo, Amuwo, all the way to Badagry. So it's 10 local governments. Currently, PDP has House of Rep members in 4 local governments out of the 10. And I'm candidate for PDP. Yes.
You think you stand a chance?
Of course, I stand a fantastic chance.
What makes you think you stand a chance?
Well, because there's a narrative now that, the incumbent has been somebody that has constantly aspired to become governor of Ogun State. And in politics, your heart is where your aspiration lies, right? And we have a whole mess of the Badagry division. We see what is happening in Amuwo, Oshodi, Solo, with the traffic and tankers, and we don't really have a presence of a senator in Lagos West. And you look at the bills that is trying to push through in the Senate. These are not things that are people-friendly. We have a senatorial district that's a mixture of a lot of people, a lot of non-indigens, Aworis, Yoruba people, non-speaking Yoruba people, and these people have been living on an axis that has been messed up in terms of like the roads, the quality of life that they have. And then lastly, we look at some of the good work that was done by this government in places like Agege, in Oshodi, where visionary projects have to be given credit where it's due. But then in Alimosho, for instance, 26 roads were commissioned in one day by this governor. And then for some reason, he's not good enough to come back. So a lot of people are starting to ask, why should a state as diverse as Lagos, one, be the dumping ground of rejects from other states, such as Ogun State? You want to be governor from Ogun State, it does not work out, you come back here, or you're a deputy governorship candidate for Kogi State, it does not work, you come back to Lagos to represent Ikeja. And 2, a governor that actually did quite well in certain places be removed because apparently he's not a party man. Right? So these are questions that we're going to put to a referendum in the next election. And I feel that PDP stands a good chance.
Hurricane Katrina and Beijing Olympics. These
Yeah.
are 2 key things you as an architect, you
Yes,
worked on
yes,
2
yes,
key
yes,
projects
yes,
with 2
yes,
governments, the
yes,
government
yes,
of the
yes,
United States
yes,
of
yes,
America
yes.
and that of
China.
China.
Yes.
What experience would you be bringing from, being a member of that team that worked on the Beijing Olympics?
Yeah, I mean, the Beijing one was interesting because they were trying to understand how to adopt their traditional architecture with the rapid urbanization of Beijing. There is something that the courtyard housing typology creates, which is community, which is family, that is very different from the isolated apartment living where everybody just cares about themselves. And that was something that we're trying to see how they can fuse those 2 architectural typologies together. In relation to Hurricane Katrina, we're sent in as a team to work with New Orleans department to actually show new kinds of typologies that can be created in the heart of the French Quarter. Because if you understand the geography of New Orleans, it's like a saddle. So you find that the places where the cost of land is very cheap, that's where most minorities, most black people live, which is why they were the ones most affected by Hurricane Katrina. And then the water levels rise and then flood places like that. So on the higher land, how do you create, intensely dense urban development, but it does not look like a ghetto? And how do you achieve that? So it was very interesting. And I think that those two actually talk very, very strongly to Lagos, because we have a intensely dense population. We have land that is shrinking. I mean, places where they're expanding, a lot of people cannot afford to live in the Eco-Atlantics and the Banana Islands. So it's looking at development and trying to see how we can grow Lagos in a sustainable way.
Now let's bring it back to Lagos. About 3-4 months ago, Lagos was actually enmeshed in huge dirt. Lagos was swimming in dirt.
Yes.
And going through your resume, you also did something. One of your theses was on how to turn west. Now, if you were in charge then, maybe representing the people then, now we'll backtrack, what would you have been able to do, quite, differently by way of, advice or advocacy to help change things for your people in Lagos West?
Okay, so to start from my thesis, it was about formalizing the informal. At the time, there was a network of waste pickers, and they still exist, but they've reduced significantly. The idea was, how can we create waste to wealth? And actually try to start to use that system to lift people out of poverty.
Sorry, when you talk about the waste pickers, did you have the PSP operators in mind?
PSPs were not around at that time. They were just, Lawma was just starting up, right? So the idea was, okay, people that have money will buy these trucks and all of that, but what will now happen to these other people? How can they be incorporated into the system so they're not left behind? Because that's the problem that we have in Africa. A lot of development happens and so many people are left behind and then they are stuck in poverty. So that was one aspect of it. In relation to how it is today, I would have empowered or created systems where the existing PSP operators will have access to funding to be able to upgrade. Because that was the main argument, that they don't have the capacity to operate at the level of international cities. So as opposed to bringing in another organization, and then there was now this whole disruption, and then the citizens had to pay the price for it, why didn't we sort of have a system that was not so abrupt, It carried the people along, which is really what new policy should always do. Carry them along, empower them, make them more efficient, make them better, as opposed to just dumping them.
No, understanding Lagos West is key here. Looking at the 10 local governments that make up Lagos West is also very important. And you say you have a fair knowledge or fair understanding of what exactly it is about around these 10 local governments. Now, let's go back to Badagry, one of the areas which falls within Lagos West. I'm quite sure you understand some of the complaints from Badagry, so to speak.
Okay,
yes.
Badagry has been forgotten, really. Badagry has been forgotten by Lagos. I mean, sometimes you can go from Alimosho to Badagry and it can take almost 2 hours, 30 minutes, and there's no traffic. The roads are that bad. And for this to be a major international road that's linking Nigeria to other parts of Africa, it's a shame that the roads are that dilapidated, especially when the current ruling party has said for so many years that funds have been approved for it and they're going to do so much work on it. And I was in Badagry last week and it's still the same.
But Badagry didn't just come, I quite understand it, but again, your party, it would be a shame if I don't remind you that your party was also in charge when that plight, began for the people of Badagry.
Of course, but the senator that's supposed to fight for appropriation for that road has always been APC, right? So I'm not saying that any party is a saint. I'm saying the quality of our representatives need to fight for their people to the best capacity that they have. It's just that simple, So if you have a senator in PDP and then the president APC and the PDP person is blaming the APC, no. What did you do to ensure that appropriation was made for these people that are your constituents? And that's how That's what you have to answer to.
Don't you think it's high time we stop such kind of politicking whereby everyone will feel that we must have the same party at the center and the state for things to really go out there for the electorate? Because if your state, maybe if we say the governing party is APC and the state party is PDP, and there's a federal project or any project, it shouldn't be about politics. It's just first should be about the people.
About the people, exactly. Unfortunately, our politics has so eroded. When you read the books by Awolowo, Azikiwe, the higher thoughts of these leaders that we have, the kind of leaders we have right now, they're quite embarrassing. I've read where, because a certain person, a certain House of Rep or Assembly member did not do something, the governor refused to do a bridge that links his community to the main place. And they got that petty. I mean, this bridge is just like a 3-meter bridge that's about maybe like 2 meters or 1.5 meters wide. That's how petty these people get.
Sometimes, it's all right there. So, sometimes they skirt around your house. If you're in opposition, they go around your house and fix every other thing around the house. So politicians, they have to accept such blame. How can we make them change?
I think we need more people to get involved.
Here, I'm talking about the electorate.
Yes, the electorate.
Because now
because if
you're contesting now.
I know.
So I'm standing on this corner and
I understand.
How can we make you people change?
But you see, I'm not that far from you. At least not yet. Right? I'm 35. I'm the youngest senatorial candidate in charge of the largest senatorial district. At 35, doing that, there's still that closeness and affinity to the people. Right? So I say this, that we, the voters, need to get more involved. A lot of us need to come out more. You look at, let me give you an example now. We all say Alimosho is the largest voting bloc in Nigeria. In Lagos. About 690-something thousand people are registered there as of 2018. Last election, less than 21% of those people came out. Now, we might say that a lot of these people have not picked up their PVCs, right? So let's even say half of them. But we're talking about 21%. 21% are determining the future and the lives of the people that are going to live there for another 4 years.
What goes up in my mind is how does it worry you that just might be something that works against politicians when they get into office, and that has to do with a very bad spirit, spirit of not listening to the people. And I say this because if some people try to get across to their representatives. For instance, I live in a locality whereby I've actually, taken the move to talk to my own senator and people to see how they can actually make some kind of activities happen for the people. And they're just deaf to it. So how is it that when people like you get into office, all they do is not to even listen to people at the end of the day?
I don't know why you say people like me. Which people like me?
Politicians. That's why I'm asking. Doesn't it worry you that there just might be something in in Nigerian politics that stops you from listening by the time you get into office?
There is something about the process of electioneering in this country. When you want somebody to be a public servant, right? But this person is made to buy your votes. How can that person now enter office and serve you? It's like a chicken and egg kind of situation. We keep going in circles. We have a situation where our politics are so degraded now that we're calling it see and buy. Now, this man has brought out all this money to see and buy your vote, while they see and pick your call. The deal has been done. He's going to accumulate that money again, and he'll come and see you in 4 years' time.
And buy again.
And buy again. Maybe you might up your price. Now, the problem with that, like I said, looking at Alimosho as a case study, we're still talking about 21%. Now, there's a huge population, all the people in this studio that are here, that are working. I doubt if any of these people will come out on election day and say, give me 1,000 naira, give me 500 naira. And they are the ones that have the best ideas about the solutions, the ideas, the criticism, everything. But on election day, they stay in their houses. Now, if a politician can see that, there was a 40-50% turnout here, and I did not spend the kind of money for a 40-50% turnout, he knows now that there are people that matter and he has to be accountable to. It changes the dynamic. And I'm very worried that if we continue with the way and path that our politics is going in this country, we kind of have lords ruling over us. Now we'll just have gods, demigods.
So how long have you been involved in local politics of, say, Lagos West?
Lagos West. Okay, my own path into politics is kind of unique in the sense that first, I've been involved in activism. In fact, the time I walked into the studio, I was interviewed about GMOs and genetic modified foods. And I led a campaign on that for about 3 years. I debated the Foreign Minister of Agriculture. I was here. I debated the DG of MBMA. She was in Abuja. I was in the studio here. And it culminated in leading like a 2,000-man march in association with other pressure groups on the Senate. And in that experience, also providing resources to them during the confab as well to push for laws that actually protect Nigeria against genetic modified foods. In that process, I felt like, no, we need leaders that have empathy. We need leaders that will put the people first, regardless of whatever money is on the table. Because there are certain damage that you can do to your country that there is no going back from. And after that, I came and I joined Kowa Party. I was extremely naive then. I would say that my understanding of politics as it is in Nigeria, as opposed to the idea of what it should be, like the gentleman that spoke before me was talking about Obama and all of these things. But I ran for chairman of Ikeja local government. I vowed that I'm not going to buy anybody's vote. I'm going to go on the streets, do door to door. Anything I'm doing or sharing is for the public good, fumigating, cleaning their roads. If there's trash that's piled up for 3 months, 4 months, evacuate it and things like that. But on the day of election, people were coming to my agents and saying, how much is Gbadebo going to pay? Like, we really, really want Gbadebo, but how much is he paying? And there were some that even went home. They said, Gbadebo is not paying. I'm not voting for any of these or that too. I'm going to go home. So in their mind, they kept their integrity. You understand? So I saw that say this, that through that, I joined the PDP afterwards, been heavily involved in our politics locally in Ikeja. And the opportunity came and I got involved. And, PDP really embraced the Not Too Young to Run bill. And I have to say this for the record. Honorable Tony from Oshodi Solo was the one that pushed it in the House of Rep. And then from that same senatorial district I am produced, 35 years old, they reduced the cost of the House of Rep ticket by 1 million and actually put an asterisk saying, taking into consideration the Not Too Young to Run bill. Yeah.
But again, looking at you, I'm worried.
Okay.
And I'll tell you my worry. And my worry is those, electorates who came out while you were at Kowa and said, how much is it paying? Oh, if he's not giving us money, I'm going home. They're still around.
Of course.
So how much are you paying this time?
Listen, this is what is going to happen. My focus is on bringing people out, right? Because my election is on the same day as Atiku Abubakar and the House of Rep candidate. So our primary aim is to get as many people to come out as possible. That 80% that are staying in their house, we're working to get them out. And that 80% comprise of people like you, people that are all over the studio. So I'm sure you will not ask me to pay you anything, would you?
You can't be too sure. But anyway, I think, money politics, I think let's close on that. Money politics is still very, very, much of a problem in Nigeria.
Yes,
looking at a young man like you, 35 years, it excites me.
Thank you.
Having you in the studio.
Thank you.
And I'm quite sure it excites a lot of Nigerians. We just want to see a lot of people come in with new ideas.
Yes.
And if you look at it over the years, it will seem as if those born in the early 70s and the 80s and even pretty much early 90s have been cut off from our politics.
Yes.
What do you think you can actually do? Because you still haven't answered. Those people who said, while you're at Kowa, asking for money, they're still very much around. What would you say to them differently? And now it's not about me. It's not about those who you think that will not be asking you money. Because these people, they still see it as business, a business that comes up every 4 years.
Yes. I think the honest truth is this. Politics is a game of numbers. Yeah, politics is a game of numbers. Nigeria is currently almost 70% of the population live in poverty. We are now the poverty capital of the world. Democracy is supposed to exist in a place where other systems exist that allows it to flourish in the true way it's supposed to. So like for instance, you come out of school, you can get a loan, you go get a mortgage, get a car note, get a car. Those kind of things don't exist in Nigeria. So I say all that to say this, right? There are welfare packages for people that are going to demand for that. There are people that want to know what your manifesto is. You give them your manifesto. There are people that are just excited that, you know what, there's potential for a president that can get the country working again, the economy working again. They'll vote for you, right? You have to meet everybody at their point of need, and that's what we're going to do.
You have thugs working for you because I understand politicians, you must have thugs.
That's unfortunately what Lagos politics has turned into, and we know the person that actually created that, right? I will not say I have thugs.
When you say weird, I'm not part of those.
No, I know. I'm saying that Lagosians know. Like for instance,
so you have thugs working for you?
We have good boys working for us.
How good are your boys?
Very good.
You know, Lagos politicians, I try to listen to what's not being said. Honestly, I try as much as possible to listen to what's not being said. And I'll take it that you have people watching your back.
We have people that are going to get the job done and ensure that we have a peaceful and free and fair election.
So all the sectors, you have representatives?
All the sectors? What sectors?
Well, they have, they have units in Lagos.
I'm sure we're well covered.
Well, anyway, I think we wish you very well
Thank you so much.
as you move towards 2019, and we hope that we can have you pretty much later to come back in the studios.
Fantastic.
And what's the best meal you make? You say you cook.
Yes, I used to do some very mean eggs, you know,
mean eggs.
Like nice omelets, you know, with bacon and sausages and tomatoes.
I'll tell you, because I'm the son of a chef, and I'll tell you for free. Try as much as possible to break every egg, you know, on a different bowl if you're going to fry more than one.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Why?
Because sometimes I leave a lot of eggs in my fridge, and sometimes they go bad.
That's true.
So you break one is good, you break two is good,
Then the
and
third
the last
one
one just might be
with
bad.
salmonella.
So next time, put it on a different bowl.
Thank you.
So
see, we learn every day.
Many thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, I like young people to come on the show. That's it on Political Stew. Next week, I have someone special for you. See you then.